Julia Roberts used to make more money than any other star in Hollywood. One movie made her $20 million, but her last big hit was more than 10 years ago. By her usual standards, her most recent movies are a failure. She had to move to Netflix to find work. It gets worse, she has had a rare blood problem since 2002 that could kill her at any time. Hollywood doesn't know what to do with her now that she's 56. It's clear that her golden age is over. Julia Roberts was born in Smyrna, Georgia on October 28, 1967. But her story didn't start like most do. Her family had already made history before she ever set foot on a movie set. It was one of the first acting schools in the South to accept both black and white students during segregation. Her parents ran the Atlanta Actors and Writers Workshop. They let Yolanda King, who is the daughter of Martin Luther King Jr., join their program in 1965. Making that brave choice put me in real danger. Threats were made against them in the neighborhood. While some people in their community turned against them, they stood strong. They taught acting in an old church to fight against the racism they saw around them. For Julia, this was all new and hard to understand at the time. But the place where she lived would change the way she saw the world. Julia was born at Crawford Long Hospital, and her parents were having a hard time with money. It was a big amount of money back then, $1,286. However, an amazing event took place and they were able to pay it. Martin Luther King Jr. and Coretta Scott King stepped in and paid the whole price without anyone knowing. They did it to show their appreciation for what Julia's parents had done for her. They never told anyone about it. She didn't tell that story until she was 55 years old in 2022. She said that Coretta went to the hospital on November 2, 1967 to make sure the payment went through. Martin Luther King Jr. was killed just a few months later. For decades, no one knew about the link between two big names in civil rights and a future Hollywood star. Julia's early years were not calm. In 1971, not long before she turned 4, her parents split up. Her mom said it was because she was being mentally abused. Her dad told her that she had left the family. A court case went on for months. After not even a year, Julia's mom married a guy named Michael Moats. He wasn't like her dad, he got angry easily. He worked in factories and moved the family to cheaper places to live. Sometimes they had to move again after only a few months. Julia, her brother Eric, and her sister Lisa always had to watch out for each other. Julia stopped talking to people at school. Her teachers saw that she missed a lot of class and often looked scared. She even got a stutter that didn't go away until she was 9 years old. It helped to go to speech training, but acting helped more. It helped her speak up when she felt like she didn't have one. In 1978, bad things happened. Walter was Julia's dad. He died of throat cancer. She was only 10 years old. To keep her safe, he had kept her in the dark about his sickness. But the sadness was strong. Julia ended her speech. She was having trouble sleeping. Her marks went down. Her dad had been a safe place for her, but now he was gone. He gave her tapes of bedtime stories that he had made before he died. When she was 13, she listened to them every night until they were worn out. When her father died, it left a hole that never really went away. Being on stage helped her deal with the pain. Something she could say that she couldn't in real life. At the same time, things at home got worse. Her mom's marriage to Moat was breaking down. The police were called to their house more than once. Everyone in her family left as soon as they could. Julia stayed put. The year 1976 saw the birth of her half-sister Nancy. After many years, Nancy would have problems with drugs and eventually kill herself. In 2014, her mother finally left Moats after 9 years. In 1981, she asked for a divorce because she thought her husband was cruel. After that, she worked on getting better. She opened a new acting school and helped out at a women's shelter as a volunteer. Julia was 14 years old. She was still hurting, but she was getting stronger. And when Julia started to think bigger, her mother became very protective of her. Julie thought she would become a vet when she was in high school. Even though she liked animals and was good at biology, she kept feeling drawn to performing. She was in school shows, played the clarinet, and even passed out during a frog dissection, but that same day she got the lead role in a play. She wrote plots in her science notebooks for hours after school. The doctor she used to go to said she didn't come to his office to watch surgeries. He came to look at the people. She didn't even know it, but she was already training to be an actor. Julie moved to New York City right after finishing from high school in 1985. She had $628 saved up and lived with her sister Lisa in a small flat. It was chilly. It stopped heating up. They slept in their coats some nights. Julia didn't have enough money to take the train, so she walked for miles. She ate cheap food and went to 3 or 4 interviews every day. Before she got her first ad for Clearasil, she was turned down more than 200 times. Everything changed when I got that $825 check. It got her a SAG card which lets her go to real tryouts. Julia did something strange as a child back in Georgia. She used to lock herself in the bathroom when she was 7 years old and practice giving Oscar speeches. As fake awards, she used shampoo boxes or perfume jars. She even made a recording of herself to hear how she spoke. It took her over 40 talks to write them down in a leather journal. She kept training even after her family lost power and had to use candles. "When I win my Oscar, I'll thank you third," she told her brother one time. She kept her word when she finally won in 2001. In 1987, she got her first real playing job on the TV show Crime Story. Even though she had the flu and a 103-degree fever, she didn't want to miss it. She only needed one take to do the part. On set, everyone knew she was special, but things didn't get simple right away. She tried out for roles all the time, got one in Firehouse, and even got burned by a mistake in the special effects. She didn't give up. She worked for 16 hours straight. She sold her grandfather's pocket watch to pay the rent one time because she was so poor. After she became famous, she bought it back 3 years later for almost 8 times the price. Julia met Liam Neeson, who was 35 years old, in 1988 while they were both working on the movie Satisfaction. They didn't get along at first. Then the filming was held up and something changed. 3 weeks after they started dating, they moved in together. It wasn't liked in Hollywood. Because of the connection, Julia lost a big ad deal. She was even turned down for a movie part because of it. She didn't care though. Liam helped her think about new things. There were 27 books for her to read. It felt like college. Even though they didn't stay together, the split made her feel a lot of things that she used in Steel Magnolias. She was up for an Oscar and won her first Golden Globe. People didn't see the pain that went along with that success. Roberts didn't sleep for 47 hours straight to get ready for Shelby's diabetic seizure scene. It wasn't some crazy act. Co-star Sally Field told her to do it to help her get into character. It worked, but Roberts was pushed to the limit. She locked herself in her hotel room for 3 days during the sad funeral scene, and only ate saltine crackers and drank water. She wanted to look just as sad as Shelby was supposed to be. It wasn't easy because of the director, Herbert Ross. After a tough take on January 17, 1989, he yelled at her that it was the worst acting he had ever seen. Roberts was so upset that she left the set and didn't come back for 6 hours. Roberts was only in the movie for 38 minutes, even though she was in a big group. That made the fact that she was nominated for an Oscar even stranger. The scene where she breaks down after a medical emergency is one of the most powerful in the movie. It was shot all in one take. There were tears. In the end, she said she wasn't playing at that time. She had lost someone. Both her job and her love life were going up quickly. Around the same time, she asked Dylan McDermott to marry her. On November 28, 1988, they met at the first table read of Steel Magnolias. He gave her a card that said, "Your eyes are the most beautiful I've ever seen." After only 19 days, he asked her to marry him at the Russian Tea Room in New York, using an emerald ring that belonged to his grandmother. They paid $1,800 a month for a small room in the West Village. Their neighbors saw them living together like any other couple. Julia went grocery shopping. Dylan took their foster dog with 3 legs for a walk, but they had a deeper bond than that. She called the director himself and persuaded him to keep Roberts when she was about to be fired from Pretty Woman. But fame comes with a price. Roberts' private life went away as they became more popular. She called off their June wedding on March 12, 1990, 2 weeks before the first episode of Pretty Woman aired. A newspaper paid their doorman $25,000 to let them into their apartment. That was the last blow. She understood that she couldn't have a normal life and be famous at the same time. It's funny because Pretty Woman almost didn't have her at all. 7 other actors were first turned down for the part of Vivian. On February 7, 1989, Michelle Pfeiffer said no. It was turned down by Molly Ringwald in March. After reading the story, Meg Ryan said no. Daryl Hannah believed it made prostitutes seem more appealing. Jennifer Lee didn't think the character was deep enough. Valeria Golino had too much to do. Karen Allen didn't like how different their ages were. Last but not least, Roberts tried out on April 3. There was something about her that Gary Marshall liked. It was what he called her luminous vulnerability. But Richard Gere wasn't interested even back then. Marshall set them up at Gere's place to hang out. He got a post-it note from Roberts. "Say yes, please." That's when everything changed. They hit it off right away, which is what made Gere want to be in the movie. The two of them became one of the most famous movie pairs ever. Still, Roberts wasn't exactly a star. She only made $300,000 for Pretty Woman. That was about $273 a day after taxes and dealer fees. The room she stayed in cost $75 a night. Gere got $5 million plus a share of the income, which added up to about $12 million in the end. The movie was a huge hit. It came out on March 23, 1990, and in its first weekend it made $11.3 million. That's 37 times what she was paid. It was in screens for 16 weeks and made $463.4 million around the world. It was all the rage to wear her red opera dress, causing $30 million worth of fake sales. At almost $90 each, the VHS sold 2.8 million copies. Rodeo Drive saw a 27% rise in tourists as well. Roberts didn't see much of that money though. Executives at Disney got extra money. She learned her lesson. She charged $10 million for the Pelican Brief by 1993. In 2000, for her part in Erin Brockovich, she got $20 million, which changed the way women are paid in Hollywood forever. Even so, her personal life wasn't always going well. It wasn't long before Roberts fell in love again, this time with Kiefer Sutherland. They met on the set of Flatliners. By August 1990, they were engaged and making plans for a big wedding on June 14, 1990. 1991. The dress Roberts bought cost $8,000, and the shoes she bought cost $425. It was going to be like a Hollywood movie. The fairy tale didn't work out though. Amanda Rice, an exotic dancer who was 24 years old at the time, told the London Sun in May 1991 that she had been seeing Sutherland. She said he had moved in with her at a hotel after leaving Roberts. Then she said he called Roberts an ice princess who was afraid of herself. She later changed her story and said it was just a friendship, but the harm was already done. Soon after, Roberts was taken to the hospital supposedly because he had the flu. But people were not sure if it was really the flu or just stress. 5 days were spent in the hospital. She still wore her engagement ring at that point. The wedding looked like it might still happen. The last twist then came. 3 days before the wedding, Roberts called off the whole thing. Sutherland didn't even know she said it. He heard it from someone else. Her best friend Sutherland was moving out of their Beverly Hills home at the same time she was with him. Roberts and Patrick flew to Ireland on the day they were meant to get married. The journalist went crazy. People called her the runaway bride years before she played one on TV. She later said that she had planned to end things in a nice way, but Sutherland called her first and was mean. Sutherland told her years later that he accepted her decision to leave because she was brave. Roberts got married again, this time to country singer Lyle Lovett, just 2 years after that big mess. Everyone was shocked by the marriage, which only lasted from 1993 to 1995. It felt like a response to everything that had happened before. She had run away from one wedding and then rushed into another. Roberts found something real in the end. She got married to film director Danny Motter in 2002. They've been together for more than 20 years. Hazel and Phineas, twins born in 2004 and Henry born in 2007, are their 3 children. She found peace after all the trouble, sadness, and public chaos. This is something she never had when she was the most famous woman in the world. I Love Trouble, which came out in 1994, was meant to be a light and fun love comedy. It turned out to be a disaster behind the scenes. Why? Nick Nolte and Julia Roberts did not like each other. Also, it wasn't just normal stress, it was a real war. Things went badly from the start. As soon as they met, they didn't get along. They did more than just fight. They stayed away from each other so much that most of their scenes had to be filmed with stand-ins. In an interview with the New York Times, Julia said that they were annoying to each other. Then she said something that made everyone gasp. Nolte could be sweet, but he was also disgusting, and he seemed to do everything he could to turn people off. That was rough, so Nolte fought back. In the Los Angeles Times, he said it was rude to call someone gross, but he also said Julia is not a nice person. That's something everyone knows. The movie didn't do well at all. Both critics and viewers didn't like it. People remember the drama that happened off-screen more than anything that came out in movies, but Julia didn't let the fight or the failure stop her. She came back in a big way with My Best Friend's Wedding in 1997. It wasn't just a hit, it was a true smash. It made over $21 million in its first weekend and almost $300 million around the world, even though it only cost $38 million to make. What's the twist? People loved that her character didn't get the guy. It was real and different. Rotten Tomatoes gave the movie a score of 73%, and became one of the 10 biggest movies of the year. Everyone could see that Julia Roberts was still a star. Then 1999 came along. She didn't just prove herself again that year, she ruled the whole thing. She was in Notting Hill with Hugh Grant in May. It made $364 million around the world, making it the most successful British movie of all time at the time. 10 weeks later, she worked with Richard Gere again on Runaway Bride. That movie had one of the best starts for a romantic comedy ever with $35 million. It made more than $309 million around the world in the end. People didn't care that critics weren't pleased. A lot of people loved seeing Roberts and Gere together again. Roberts made history that same year. That movie made her the first woman in Hollywood to get $20 million for a single role. Before that, only big male stars like Mel Gibson and Tom Cruise had gone there. Roberts wasn't just getting a big check though. She was risking something. The part was important. She played a single mom who worked with others to bring down a large energy business. Moving away from romantic movies was a brave thing to do. It was a good bet. The movie made over $200 million around the world, and that changed everything. There was no doubt that Roberts was the best actress. They put her up for 3 awards, and this time she won. A Golden Globe, a BAFTA, and a Screen Actors Guild Award were also hers. It was an easy win. During her Oscar speech, she even joked that she was going to take her time on stage. She deserved it. She didn't stop moving after that. Roberts' movies had made more than $3.9 billion around the world by 2001. She did it without superhero movies or big series. Besides the Ocean's 11 series, she didn't do any other titles at all. She kept making hits on her own instead. Julie Roberts and Danny Moder got married in July 2002. She had just won an Oscar for her role in Erin Brockovich and was 35 years old. But after a few weeks, something didn't feel right. She was always tired. There was no reason for the black and blue marks on her face. Danny saw it. He made her go to the doctor. After that, tests, which made her whole world shake. They told her she had ITP, which stands for idiopathic thrombocytopenic purpura. It's a very uncommon blood problem. Out of every 100,000 people, only 3.3 get it. Platelet counts drop too low because of the disease, so your blood can't clot properly. It was not only scary for Julia, it broke her heart. In that moment, her biggest wish was to have a child, but the news made her doubt that. She didn't give up though. After 2 years, she had twins named Hazel and Phineas. After that, her boy Henry was born in 2007. Julia had 3 children, even though she was sick. The disease didn't make her who she was. Danny may have really saved her life. Before she even knew something was seriously wrong, he saw the signs. Her bruises and tiredness that she couldn't understand weren't just from stress or being tired. They showed that there was a bigger problem. Medicines were quickly given to her when her platelet count fell well below the usual range of 150,000 to 450,000 per microliter of blood. If they hadn't helped her, she could have had internal bleeds, even in the brain. Everything changed when Danny thought quickly. The sickness is not easy to understand. Her body's defenses had gone bad. It began to attack her platelets as if they were enemies. No one knows the reason for it. There's a chance it was stress or genes. But the time was right. People were interested in her life, her marriage, her fame, and everything else. When she was stressed, her body let her down. Every day she had to watch out. A cut of any size could be dangerous. There are times when internal bleeding can happen without notice. Doctors kept an eye on her all the time, especially when her platelet count got close to 20,000. The area of danger. If you are any lower, a fall or bump could kill you. Julia began a long list of treatments to fight it. This was the start of drugs like prednisone. They worked, but they made me gain weight, have mood swings, and look puffy. Being the center of attention made that even harder. After those didn't help, she added IVIG treatment. It took hours and she had to fit it in around seeing movies. After that, she took newer medicines such as romoplastim and eltrombopag, which helped her body make more platelets. Rituximab, a strong drug that killed bad immune cells, helped her the most when things were at their worst. It wasn't cheap for all of this. It might cost more than $150,000 a year to treat her, but she worked on. She kept going to award shows, sets, and openings. She juggled being a mom, writing plots, and medical charts behind the scenes. She didn't say anything. That was the most amazing thing about it. Everyone in the world knows Julia, but not many people knew about her fight. She put on makeup to hide her bruises. She planned the shoots to happen during flare-ups. The costume teams changed the clothes to hide the signs. Not even close co-workers knew. She never wanted to be liked. Her only goal was to enjoy her life. But her private life wasn't always so secret. In the early 1990s, her family was torn apart by a custody fight. Her brother, star Eric Roberts, was in a custody battle over his daughter Emma. Judy didn't agree with him though. Instead, she stood by his ex-girlfriend Kelly Cunningham. She hired lawyers for her and helped her get custody. Eric was very angry. They didn't talk to each other for more than 10 years. He later said he was in a bad spot and that he was angry, hooked, and not trustworthy. He had to give up control as payment. He went to the hospital with Julia when she had her twins in 2004. That trip helped them start to fix what they had broken. Julie and Kelly got along in a strange way. They didn't know each other before the custody case, but Julia became their friend. She didn't know Kelly very well, but she saw the child in the middle of the chaos. Emma went on to become an actor. Julia was also on that trip. While her brother was lost in addiction, she was both an aunt and a quiet guide. The pain in the family didn't end there. Nancy Moats, Julia's half-sister, asked her to her wedding in 2013. Julia said not to. She didn't want to go because she didn't trust Nancy's fiancé. It wasn't just the wedding. It had always been tense between them. Julia had said to Nancy years ago that she was secretly taking pictures of her kids. There were big cuts. Nancy had been having a hard time with her weight, self-esteem, and feeling like she belonged for a long time. Julia's refusal hurt Nancy. Then bad things happened. She was only 37 years old when she was found dead in her bathroom in February 2014. It was judged to be a suicide. She left a few notes. They weren't shared by the family. Julia called off all of her plans because she had just been nominated for an Oscar. She stayed home to be sad. The Roberts family is still hurting from that event. Julia was dealing with all of this while her job was changing. She was once the queen of the box office, but now her star was going down. Her movie Money Monster only made $93 million around the world in 2016. That was nothing like her previous hits. Other movies like Larry Crown and Mirror Mirror were also bad. People weren't coming as often as they used to. The good times when she won $20 million were coming to an end. Then there was another blow in 2011. The UK did not allow the ads she made for L'Oreal. Why? Way too many airbrushes. The lawmakers said the pictures were not real. Julia had been praised for her natural beauty, but now she was part of a bigger argument about how beauty standards are too high. Some people didn't understand why a woman like her needed computer help to sell makeup. As theaters changed and her chances of getting parts decreased, she changed her plans. She played the lead role in Leave the World Behind in 2023. A movie that came out on Netflix. Mahershala Ali and Ethan Hawke were among the stars she worked with. The streaming service paid her $25 million, which is the same amount she made at her highest point in movies. But she no longer had to worry about how well the movie did at the box office. A lot of people watched at home. The change was smart, and it worked out. In 2014 for August, she was nominated for her last Oscar, County of Osage. Along with Meryl Streep, she played a mean daughter. It was a sad and dark part. Even though she didn't win, it made everyone remember how talented she was. There haven't been any awards since then. Not like Cate Blanchett or Sandra Bullock, she hasn't come back to the stage with a big hit. Some people think she's just waiting for the right story, or that Hollywood doesn't know what to do with 50-year-old women.